So something a little different today. We're going to do photography. We're going to cover 4 things. We're going to cover the idea of the vertical in the shot. We're going to cover framing the image. We're going to cover perspectives and elevations, which is also going to include details. Enjoy the journey. It's all around Newcastle. Let's go. Okay, the journey starts on Northumberland Street, which is the main external shopping street within the city. As we travel down, everything is vertical. That's super important in terms of rule number 1. And we're going to maintain that as we travel throughout the city. We're going to spin round and get an elevation shot, maintaining those verticals, and then we're going to move on to Blackett Street. So travelling along Blackett Street, always looking, always thinking about how we frame those views. Another elevation shot. And we're now going to travel around to Granger Street and try and balance the views left and right, and continue on as we approach end, where we're going to pick up on an elevation. So that's not a great view because it doesn't actually get the full fascia of the building, but as we move around, move ourselves into position, we're able to frame that and get our first elevation shot that we're happy with. And then zooming in on the window. Issues with reflection, I appreciate that, but we have a zoomed in elevation detail. So moving back past the monument into Blackett Street, trying to pick up not just architecture but the things that are occurring as we pass through the urban environment. Approaching Northumberland Street again. I guess the big advice is take lots of pictures. You're not going to get it in one shot. If there's lots of movement, then you can use a shutter facility. Otherwise, all of this is done on an iPhone, taken from a video, and obviously you can get really good quality through that. This last shot that we've just framed, it's important that lamppost on the right hand side just balances out the image. And then this one really highlights a 1-point perspective, so every line goes off to 1 point in the distance, and that gives us our 1-point perspective. Very symmetrical in terms of the angle. And then we start going down Grey Street, which was voted the best street in the UK on a number of occasions. So beautiful Georgian architecture. Trying to pick up on the Everyman as a possible elevation shot, but it doesn't quite work with the building next door to it. Trying to think about foreground with the signage, background, people's movements, context of the pillar box in the shot in the foreground, that's the dominant feature. I guess what we're trying to do is just not take standard photographs that we haven't thought about. We're always thinking about how we frame them and what's in that shot. Spinning round, having a look at it again, we've got a reflection in the pleased to meet you window, which isn't ideal. And always trying to get some sort of balance between left and right. Personally, I like it where you have a bit more of the right hand side of the buildings than the left, or vice versa, rather than a very symmetrical view, which you would get if you were stood in the middle of the road taking it. Bit like that. So again, making sure we've got the Beehive Hotel signage in there, and then we're going to zoom in and have a little look at some elevation details as well. And that is the end of the tour. Okay, so we've covered some really easy tips in terms of framing and taking a good photograph. As a starter, it certainly doesn't cover everything. We've also had a quick look around Newcastle, which is always good. And that's pretty much it. You might want to think about following here, having a look at the elevation vlog over here. But other than that, end of vlog.